so we're still facing a lot of uncertainty.
Uncertainty for hundreds of thousands of dreamers around the country tonight, including the ones here in Washington, as they wait for a decision on the immigration program known as DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. The White House is expected to make an announcement tomorrow on the Obama-era order that allowed undocumented immigrants brought here as children a chance to avoid deportation.
King 5 political reporter Natalie Brand is at a special meeting and dinner with dreamers organized by Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. She joins us now with the latest.
And Greg, Amanda, you can see this event getting a lot of coverage given the timing. This listening session and dinner with dreamers is a chance for DACA recipients to share their stories about the impact of the program and also their concerns about it potentially ending, to send a message to Washington, D.C. ahead of this expected announcement.
We're still facing a lot of uncertainty.
Paul Quinones, a volunteer with the Washington Dream Coalition, has been a DACA recipient since 2013. It's a program that's allowed him to graduate from Gonzaga, work at the Washington State Legislature. Brought to the United States from Mexico at age 7, he doesn't want to leave the country he now calls home.
I realize how American I feel and how I've gotten used to being here and how my life really is built here. So it's not really an option that I'm willing to consider, at least not yet.
But the question of what's next looms for nearly 800,000 DACA recipients nationwide.
Should dreamers be worried?
We love the dreamers. We love everybody.
President Trump is expected to make a decision on Tuesday, and NBC News reports that he's leaning towards ending the program as a handful of states threaten to sue over its constitutionality.
And we're hoping that we can continue to put pressure on him and his team to say that this is not the right way to go.
Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, an immigrant herself and longtime advocate, says Congress has legislation already in the works to help with a fix.
We have the votes, I know, in the House. If Paul Ryan brings a bill to the floor, and there are 2 legislative vehicles already on the floor right now, or on the docket, he could bring one of those to the floor for a vote and it would pass.
Washington Republicans Dan Newhouse and Dave Reichert sent a letter to Speaker Ryan last week urging action to provide some level of certainty to the dreamers now in limbo, waiting to learn their fate.
We're feeling a lot of mixed emotions because this is a country that we've grown up in, that we've been raised in. No one would probably know that we were undocumented unless we told them. But it is the reality, and so to be living that life and that story and to not feel even welcome by the country that you grew up in, that's a really tough spot to be in.
And Paul is among the dreamers seated at that table awaiting the Congresswoman to arrive so they can begin their conversation here tonight. He says that his hope is that Congress uses this as an opportunity to come up with a longer-term fix, because the challenge right now is there's still not a pathway to legal citizenship for DACA recipients. They are still in a legal gray area, and current U.S. immigration law makes it incredibly challenging for someone who is an undocumented immigrant to transition to permanent residency status. Back to you.
Natalie, thank you. Washington's Attorney General, meanwhile, is threatening legal action if President Trump ends the DACA program. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson says if Trump does follow through on that decision, his office will file suit to end what he calls Trump's cruel and illegal policy, and he vows to defend DACA recipients. Ferguson says he has been working with legal teams around the country and expects to be joined by other states. More than 17,000 dreamers live in Washington.